Yeah, Dr. Alison J here. Thanks for tuning in, and feel free to like, hype, subscribe, share, do all the stuff. I want to share with you today something that will help you if you're kind of wondering how do you get more advancement through the work that you're doing, the personal development, inner work, spiritual development, even mindset work. And so you got to go to the source of what's causing you to go on a retreat and do a healing session or receive a sound healing session at a yoga studio, and then it disappears. The peak, the great feeling you had, the clarity, the peace, why does it go away like 3 days later or 2 days later? Yeah. So there are so many reasons why, and let me just break it down with one focus today, and that is because you're experiencing these temporary breakthroughs because you're not working at where the cause is for whatever that feeling is that you want to get beyond, whatever that pattern is that you want to get beyond, whatever is the cause of why you pull back from that increased peace or that increased harmony or that increased feeling good, instead of it being a momentum that just increases, because that's totally possible here. It happens all the time. It's one of my main focuses. It's because you're not working at the source of the feeder to why you pull back or why you lose that higher vibrational state. And so these shifts fade because they're not working where we need to work for what I have actual certification in permanent behavioral change. So what we're talking about is also affecting the central nervous system. So I tend to work through where I can hit the biggest bang for the buck, so to speak. And so a chakra means wheel in Sanskrit to English, and it is meant to be turning vital life force energy, or chi, or prana. And it is the intersection of the mind, the body, and the spirit. And what I understand about that is the mind on all its different levels of consciousness, subconscious, unconscious, conscious mind, supraconsciousness, and also the spirit. And so let's say, okay, so let me just start here. So along the spinal column, it was discovered by a woman doing pharmaceutical, she was a biologist, and she was doing some development for another antidepressant, and knew enough about the chakra column that when she was doing these studies, and I go into this in one of my 4 books, I don't remember which one, she saw that along the central nervous system were the biggest gathering of nerve plexi at where each of the chakras are. So neuroreceptors, the biggest gathering of neuroreceptors where each of the chakras are along the spinal column, receiving messaging from the neurotransmitters in the brain. So that's the central nervous system. Another really cool thing is that each chakra involves one of the major endocrine glands, pineal, pituitary, thyroid, on down. So our 2 main communication systems are covered by the chakra system. And I'm not talking about listening to a YouTube video that is sound healing for the throat chakra for 10 minutes or an hour, and then the chakra's fine. The wheel has a symbolism of a petal. All those petals around the flower, the symbol of the chakras in the center of it. You guys all have seen that most likely. So you have the Sanskrit letters for that chakra. It's a circle that's supposed to be the center of a flower, and then all the petals of the flower. And those petals are aspects of that chakra. And why I am going into this is because, let's say so if you're not working at a root cause that then disperses more vital life force energy, because now some of the blocks, like one of the petals or one of the aspects that chakra governs in life, has been cleared, releasing more vital life force energy, so the chakra turns more. And as it releases more of that vital life force energy, because it's all along the spinal column, it also disperses more of that vital life force energy along the central nervous system. And so it helps to keep the nervous system regulated. The healthier you are with the whole subtle energy system that the chakras are only a part of. So let's say, for example, if you were born into, I just had this with a person the other night when I gave this live event, and I could perceive that at her root was blockage. And so I understood, as I listened to my intuition further, what I received and perceived was there was some kind of trauma at her birth. There was some kind of problem. So the root chakra is the first one to form because the spinal column is the first thing to form as we're an embryo into a fetus, into a human baby. So the root chakra is all about, each chakra has a right to it. This one is the right to be here. And what it also involves is, therefore, survival. If somebody has root chakra blockages, it's going to also be typically concerns and worries about that survival. There's going to be more of a tendency to be in lack and scarcity and have money problems. And also be up to proving that you have the right to be here. And that could show up as, what I've seen in the past is somebody walking into a room and they're able to work with energy. They're not doing this consciously, but as one of their ways of proving that they have the right to be here, because that was never in an affirmative way wired into their system because of the trauma at birth. Then they are going into a room, for example, if they're good with energy and they're absorbing the negative energy because they're very clairsentient. That skill is developed maybe from another lifetime, and they absorb the negative energy and they don't even realize they're doing it. But then also another key part, not only of this pattern I just mentioned, but of the root chakra, correlated to, or one of the aspects in the root chakra is vitality, life force, energy itself. So the other night when I was giving this live event and I was calling on people into the hot seat to give intuitive readings about the root blockages, I called on this woman and she had a root chakra blockage. And what I understood was that there was some trauma at her birth. And so she had spent her life, based on the conclusion of my understanding and in-depth study of the chakra column in the 10 years that I lived in Asia, including my time getting certified in India as a yoga teacher and meditation teacher. So she was low on energy because she had spent her life not feeling like she had the right to be here. So kind of scrunching down was her way of doing it. But also because she didn't feel safe with the right to be here, she wouldn't ground in her body. There were a multiplier of issues, and one of the things that she told me was that she'd had chronic fatigue and that there were forceps used during her birth, and that she tended to defer to other people and their opinions as if she didn't have the right or the worthiness to be here now. So the deference to others outside of her, placing others more important than her, was because she wasn't grounded with presence into the core, the root of her system. So all of that is a lot, I know. But what I'm getting at is until we can get to a release of the most fundamental blockage at the site that has the most influence, the conflicts of the mind, the body, and the spirit, we can release that petal or a couple of petals on that primary chakra related to this pattern that they want to move and evolve beyond, or you want to evolve beyond and stop dealing with the limitations and the ceiling of it. And that will flush more vital life force energy or consciousness up to your frontal lobe, where you make more, where you will thus therefore make more conscious choices. Okay, that was a lot. You may want to listen to this again and re-listen to this again, because it's different than what you're presented with. This is what's going to feed your shift in your self-talk, so that it's not about doing more mindset work. It's about going to the source of why you have the mindset you have. So it's like working either at the level of the river that gets polluted quite frequently and clearing the pollution, i.e. mindset work, or it's go to the source of the pollution that causes the ongoing degradation, no matter how much you weekly go in and clean it, which is what I'm talking about. Go to the cause, not a symptom. And mindset is a symptom. Not being able to sustain and then build on a breakthrough to gain new momentum in a new direction beyond a ceiling that you've had, or beyond the limiting patterns, blockage that you've had, That's what we're talking about here, and I see it all the time in my work I do. Hey, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys a link to watch the webinar where what I'm talking about is presented in more than 10 minutes, yeah, and it's done at a pace and in a way that's easier to understand. It will help lock in what I'm saying, because once you understand this, you're going to be able to take some different steps and make new choices. I mean, that's a core part of the overall work that I do, is then strengthening your choice musculature to then, with this new fresh vital life force energy, expanding your consciousness because it's no longer blocked, you're able to perceive more, including new possibilities, that your subtle energy system having more vibrant vital life force energy in it and broadcasting that out helps you bring in those new possibilities. And then you're going to have to work on being able to actually choose what's being presented to you, because it's going to take you beyond where you've been before, and now is such the time to rise. We have eclipse season coming up in August, so you're going to really want to get on top of this now to make eclipse season easier, so you don't have forced endings. You do it by choice, or forced eclipses. You're choosing it based on your guidance. I could go on. Obviously, I'm not going to. So I hope you have, I know you've gained at least 3 new nuggets out of this, especially if you go back in and listen to it. And again, I'm going to put in the webinar's link that you can, it's about 30 minutes that you can listen to below that will help contextualize what I just blasted through, because it was a lot. And have a great day. Namaste. And I'm going to add in something new. Om Shanti. 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 Shanti means peace. This is how I end every one of my yoga classes and chanting sessions. Some of you may recognize it who have been to my yoga classes. Blessings, y'all. Namaste.